So we've spoken about the new services potentially that OEMs are going to be able to offer to customers, and it feels like they're going to move from being almost a transactional relationship where you deal with your OEM when you buy the car or the vehicle, and then maybe when it needs servicing. You're now going to move to a world in which you're maybe in a continuous relationship with that OEM. Is that going to change the nature of that relationship? Do you think auto manufacturers, are they ready for that?
Yes, it is going to change the nature of that relationship, and then in countries like the United States, where you have another player in the mix, where we have dealers, so the consumers don't even really deal with the OEM when they make a purchase, right? They're dealing with the
Mm-hmm.
dealer, and so the kind of disintermediation of that data from the customer to the OEM is a real issue. But over the long term, yeah, you're going to see a fantastic range of interactions between the consumer, either as OEMs go D2C or as they start to offer different, kind of relationships that we've seen in other industries like the airline industry and loyalty programs. The OEMs haven't really gotten a tangible loyalty program off the ground that exists outside of some very basic service. That's there are lots of opportunities for additional services and touch points and relationships that will provide an ongoing two-way communication between the consumer and the OEM in the ownership phase.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we think a lot about OEM transforming to be more like software businesses, but I suppose from what you're saying, they're also transforming to be a services business, delivering an ongoing
Sure.
service to a customer. That's the big change for them.
Big change. Yeah, absolutely.
And do you think, are they all at a similar stage in this transformation, or do you feel some OEMs ahead or behind? Or
I think that there's a range, and I think that some are have been very aggressive and are farther and faster than others. Of course, you've got all the startups
yeah,
where I don't think we've ever had the kind of startup field in the automotive space that we've got right now. So they've got a whole different set of capabilities, priorities, things, the challenges, opportunities that they're able to pursue. But in general, it gets back to what the brand is and what is going to support the brand, and that's kind of dictated in some ways where the development has progressed fastest.
yes, that's interesting. And I suppose it's easy to think about this in terms of the new startups having no legacy and then almost a free role to play. But I suppose they also lack the market share and the market standing to begin with. Who do you think is going to face the biggest challenges going forward? Is it the OEMs, or do you think the startups also face big issues?
I think they all face
Yeah,
interesting challenges, right? The startups, have the advantage of not having a lot of legacy systems to constrain them, but they also have the disadvantage of not having uh, processes and policies in place to just kind of smoothly run the production, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it's a double-edged sword. And I think that you see the same thing on the OEM side. They've got some legacy constraints, but they've also got huge marketing muscle, market share, and can really do things at a scale that makes it financially viable.
Okay, okay. Um, I suppose we've talked a few times about the analogy with mobile phones, and I suppose
Right?
today you use your phone for everything but phoning people. Really,
Yeah.
do you think OEMs are still stuck a little bit too much, maybe in the mindset of a vehicle is for getting from A to B and for driving, and are they thinking about reimagining the car, you know, as much as they could be? Are they pushing the envelope enough? Do you think?
Yeah, and we talk a whole lot about smartphones because there are some valuable analogies and learnings there.
Yeah.
But as we also think about what you're doing in the vehicle, a lot of times people say, well, why would I do that in the car when I can do that? I've got an app that does that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And in many ways, the OEMs for a while, for many good reasons, relied on a lot of that connectivity and capability and applications to be on the phone, and you just kind of plug your phone into the car, right? And then that's how they solve that. I really think that there's going to be a third space, right, where
Mm.
there's the car, there's your phone, there's your computers, and some, when the iPad first came out, people were like, well, it's just a big phone. Why would I need that? And it turns out that there's some really great use cases for the iPad in addition to the phone and your computer, right? I think that the car is going to carve out its own space in the digital ecosystem, and you're just going to you're going to, one, expect for it to all work together, right?
Yes.
And two, there's going to be some things that just naturally happen better in the car's ecosystem.
Mm.
I don't know if you drive around and try and check email when you're on the road a lot, but it's not the easiest thing to do, and perhaps it might even be illegal. So there might be some ways to integrate some productivity applications into your car that's more voice driven, right, or
Yeah.
more audio driven, that really is unique to the automotive experience and is better than doing it another way.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. You touched on there that the capabilities of the vehicle and needs of consumers. Do you think we're also going to see a wider variety and range of car formats and shapes and sizes, like you mentioned with the iPad?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that we will, because I think that you're going to see more consideration around shared eventually. Obviously, the pandemic had a kind of an impact on that, but shared, urban versus longer distance,
Mm.
micro transportation. I think that you're going to see a lot of autonomous last mile delivery systems, right?
Yeah.
No passengers, which helps skirt a lot of the risk issues. But so I think that there's going to be an opportunity for many more platforms, and some of that's going to be spurred on and facilitated by the notion of the skateboard. Some of it's going to be driven by the ability to have an electrified uh, you know propulsion system, right, that can charge up in a variety of different ways without, a gas station kind of format.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it's going to be driven by autonomous capabilities, where you can just kind of set a little vehicle off to run an errand or to deliver something that otherwise would have taken a driver and a passenger-sized vehicle.
Yeah, that's interesting. So almost a whole new set of use cases for the car. Yeah. For
Absolutely.
driving. Yeah. And just finally, a good place to finish maybe is just what you think. Are there any key lessons that OEMs can learn from the large sort of hyperscale software businesses?
Yes, I mean, probably many and varied.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest lesson is, to be customer focused, right? And everybody says that, and in many ways are lined up to do that, but really understanding, um, you know, not necessarily what the customer wants. There's that famous Steve Jobs quote that if you ask somebody what they want, they won't be able to tell you, right? And so he was very good at providing things that made seamless experiences easy for an end user, and at the same time gave them a wide range of new experience possibilities. So I think that there's a real opportunity to learn from some of the things that have worked best in terms of content, commerce capabilities, and then the security and identity that are wrapped all in that.